This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, there's major news for the southern manufacturing sector in today's government budget. A $100,000 investment at Port Otago is set to help improve workers' safety. And Dunstan High School pupils have been out and about in their community, helping others. Good afternoon. I'm Melissa Barton. At 2 this afternoon, Finance Minister Grant Robinson unveiled his fourth budget. In pre-budget announcements, he had said this year's estimates and appropriations bill won't be a lolly scramble. However, the redevelopment of a southern industry is set to be on track as part of a $25 billion budget.
Dunedin's beleaguered manufacturing sector is set to receive a major boost in the government's budget.
Budget 2021 continues our significant investment in rail. A total of $810 million is allocated to purchase new locomotives and wagons and upgrade existing stock, adding to the more than $4 billion we put into rail over the last term of government. We are also fulfilling a commitment of the Labor government to rebuild manufacturing in New Zealand. The rail allocation includes $85 million to build a local wagon assembly facility at the Hillside Workshops in South Dunedin.
The funding will see the workshop assembling more than 1,000 wagons, confirming leaked documents from Kiwi Rail.
The facility will initially assemble 1,500 wagons, creating jobs and opportunities for apprenticeships, and for the first time in decades, create some onshore resilience in our rail sector.
Kiwi Rail predicted it would create an estimated 150 construction jobs, 40 to 50 assembly jobs, and up to $21 million in indirect and direct economic benefits. During the budget debate, current Leader of the Opposition Judith Collins compared the $85 million investment into Hillside with an older-style child's construction toy.
They could have incentivised firms to invest in new technology and upgrade to more productive equipment. Instead, today all we heard of was 19th century technology and no plans for building technology for the future. They could have invested in infrastructure that would actually get the economy moving. Instead, there's Meccano lessons now going to be held in Dunedin to put together presumably Chinese-made products.
In her rebuttal speech, Collins says the budget did nothing for average working New Zealanders.
But I'm sorry that under this government and this budget, New Zealand is going to lose more nurses, more teachers and more engineers, and they'll lose them to Australia.
Despite the Finance Minister describing the budget ahead of time as not a lolly scramble, the total value of the Estimates and Appropriations Bill is $25 billion. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Criteria for the review of lead contamination of the East Otago water supplies will be outlined on Tuesday. Councillors will propose the terms of reference for the investigation into Dunedin City Council's handling of the event. A council staff report says an independent reviewer or reviewers are yet to be appointed. The review is expected to start after water supplies to Waikawaiti, Karatane and Hawkesbury are restored at the end of June. East Otago residents were told not to drink tap water or use it for food preparation on February the 2nd after a series of readings exceeded the safe lead level limit. Recent testing has revealed lead contamination at undetectable or very low levels. A recently installed platform is reducing the risk to Port Otago workers. The $100,000 project is specifically designed for Port Otago and allows workers to step straight from the platform onto the straddle carriers.
A new specially designed platform is making Port Otago a little safer. The platform has been implemented to prevent mechanics from having to climb up straddle carrier ladders, which range from 11 to 14 metres in height. Port Otago Maintenance Manager Matt Eves says the new platforms reduce the workers' risk and allows them to access the carriers more easily.
So the maintainers used to climb up the vertical ladder of the machine to access the top. If they were taking parts or equipment up there to do any testing, then it used to be quite cumbersome and would result in taking backpacks or something. Now they can access via the stairwell and go directly onto the machine via the new platforms.
The straddle carriers are responsible for moving containers off trucks and trains and onto ships. The new setup uses smart technology to ensure the straddle is up against the platform and only unlocks the access gate if the straddle is in the correct place.
We engaged the draftsman to come up with the concept for us. We did have to extend the platforms off existing structure within the workshop. We then engaged Action Engineering to finish off the final design piece and build and install it for us. They've done a great job.
The $100,000 project was signed off last November, with installation starting in February. In Dunedin, The South Today.
A 42-year-old Dunedin man who molested an underage girl has avoided imprisonment. Gary Matthew Angus appeared in the Dunedin District Court on Wednesday after pleading guilty to doing an indecent act on a 14-year-old. Angus was sentenced to 6 months home detention and 150 hours of community work, as well as ordered to pay the victim $600. Judge Peter Rollo opted not to put Angus on the child sex offender register, but a protection order was made in the victim's favour, despite Angus having a previous conviction from 2003. Dunstan High School pupils are fostering connections with community through service. A partnership between the high school and Volunteer South Central Lakes saw about 50 pupils give up a day off school on Friday to volunteer in the community.
Dunstan High School pupils have been partnered with community organisations for a day of activities, ranging from working with rest home residents and adults with disabilities to planting and weeding along the Alexandra River track and rail trail. Year 13 pupil Brooke Williams spent the time cleaning a kitchen at the local Salvation Army.
I found it really good. I've enjoyed today. I've spent the day with Quillen cleaning the kitchen, and it's been super fun, and we've definitely got to know each other more.
Dunstan High School teacher Kerry Barnett says the collaboration builds upon the school's cornerstones of community and service. Volunteer South Central Lakes Community Connections Coordinator Kirsty Miles says altogether the students completed 150 volunteer hours.
I think it's really important for young people to feel like they have a sense of belonging to the community that they live in. So volunteering is a great way to do that because it really gets you to see the reality and the bigger picture of the place that you live.
Brooke Williams says she really enjoyed giving her time to the Salvation Army, while Kirsty Miles says volunteering can help youngsters understand the joy of giving. In Alexandra, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, a walking enthusiast will have his name immortalised in a Waihola track, and we have this week's edition of Football Chat with Morgan Jarvis. So catch this and more after the break.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, warm ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Welcome back. 3 people have been injured in a 3-vehicle crash at a busy Christchurch intersection. Emergency services were called to the crash at the corner of Montreal Street and Brum Street in Sydenham at 7:45 this morning. A St John spokesman said 3 people were transported to hospital with moderate injuries and 2 more were treated at the scene. One man's love for New Zealand's walking tracks has been memorialised. Peter Wauwela died last year, but his name will live on in a proposed walking track near Waihola.
A tramping enthusiast's legacy will be immortalised in a new track. A paper road above Waihola will be transformed and named after the late Peter Wauwela, who passed away last year. Wauwela was an avid tramper who founded the Milton Rotary Otago Youth Adventure Trust Tramping Club, and its president Rob Wilton says Wauwela was a tramping legend.
Peter's enthusiasm and energy was fantastic. He although German born and came to New Zealand when he was 13, his love of the New Zealand backcountry was incredible, and he was able to pass it on to other people just so well, and he was a legend, really, a legend.
The Milton Rotary Club submitted to the Clutha District Council long-term plan hearings to formalise Crane Hill Road into a track. Club President Stephen Woodhead says the walking path is already used by trampers and it'll be good to turn it into a proper track.
We see it as a terrific opportunity to develop into a formalised walkway, and we're keen to do that as a memorial to Peter Wauwela, who was instrumental in setting up and driving for many years the tramping club.
In Waihola, the South Today.
And now it's time for this week's Football Chat with host Morgan Jarvis.
Kia ora and welcome to Football Chat for the week, where we chat about the local football action. And in the weekend, hey, we had the opening rounds of the Chatham Cup and Kate Shepherd Cup competitions. Joining me today, I've got Alex from Green Island and Emily from Rosamai Carey. Thanks for coming in, probably both from teams that, even though neither of you took the field yourself, mixed results there.
The Chatham Cup's always exciting, bit of a different competition, potentially come up against different teams just like we did. The lads did well, 6-1 win and a good trip home, so can't complain with that.
Yeah, well, very unlucky result, but I think the girls worked really hard this week, and I think we played much better than the last time we played them.
And quick look at the premiership competitions that we're moving back into this weekend. Look at the tables there. So Royals out on top by 3 points, Uni, Roslyn, Green Island not too far behind. And the women's table there, Tech still with their perfect record, Uni and Roslyn seemingly battling it out for second place there. And men's fixtures this weekend, all these matches at 2:45 on Saturday. Women's premiership fixtures this weekend. Looks like we've got a couple of matches that are happening simultaneously down on the 2 turf pitches there on Saturday, with the Uni Prems Big thanks to Alex and Amelie for coming in, and we'll see you next week.
And you can watch the whole interview online at odt.co.nz. And after the break on The South today, a new initiative is trying to protect native birds by microchipping the city's cats. And we bring in political reporter Mike Houlihan to see how today's budget announcements will affect you.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Thanks for staying with us. 30 Dunedin cats are now more easily traceable thanks to a new initiative which is microchipping the city's cats. The Halo project is aimed at further protecting native birds from predators.
Some Dunedin cats could be forgiven for feeling just a little chipped. 9-week-old Comet is one of around 50 cats who had microchips implanted yesterday. Otago Polytechnic lecturer Vicky Litchford leads the team doing the work and says chipping cats means they're easy to trace.
We're working in partnership with the Halo project to microchip the cats of Dunedin to promote responsible cat ownership. So we're promoting ability to trace cats back to their owners if they are brought into the vet practice or lost or straying, so that we can get the owners connected back with their cats as quickly as possible.
Project spokeswoman Nikki Bold says the free microchipping service has been oversubscribed. Last night's session and next month's follow-up at the Polytechnic are both full. Litchford says there's a team of academics and students taking part.
So tonight our drive is looking at microchipping 57 cats, working with my fellow lecturer Catherine Rice and our lovely students who are studying diploma in veterinary nursing are helping us.
And so far, another 30 cats are due to be chipped in June. The microchips have been supplied by the New Zealand Companion Animal Register, and those behind the scheme say it'll make a difference to the native wildlife in the area around the Orokonui Eco Sanctuary. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. There's major news for the southern manufacturing sector in today's government budget. A $100,000 investment at Port Otago is set to help improve worker safety. And Dunstan High School pupils have been out and about in their community, helping others. And now look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome political reporter Mike Houlihan for a breakdown of what's in today's budget and a hint of what readers can expect in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening.
So it's budget day. What's in it for the South?
Well, a surprisingly large amount. We had already foreshadowed there was likely to be some investment in Hillside, and it's been a substantial one. $85 million towards building a facility to build wagons at the South Dunedin Kilby Rail workshop. A lot of jobs will be created in building that, and there'll also presumably be jobs following on from there, working on the wagons. So a substantial amount of money there, and also a boost to the budget for the New Dunedin Hospital. We already knew it was going to go over budget. It was forecast to be $1.4 billion. They've signalled well in advance that we're going to go over that. Another $127 million has been set aside for the hospital, and another $8.9 million for land acquisition there. Possibly the most significant thing for the South will be the increase in student allowances, which are due to go up on the 1st of April next year, given the large number of students in both the university and the Polytech. That hopefully will have a flow-on effect and be quite a kickstart for the local economy.
That is quite a significant amount of money coming to the South. Wonderful. So ahead of this afternoon's announcement, Minister Robertson said it wasn't going to be a lolly scramble, but which sectors are in... Oh, sorry, the next question is, I was going to say, there are some areas of concern like healthcare and housing, which are screaming out for attention, like you said. So are there any other areas that they're looking maybe to get funding? So we've got healthcare, we've got students. Any other areas that like are just going to get a smaller amount?
Well, probably the big substantial thing is going to be the increase in all benefits right across the board, be that be the DPB or the job seeker support. So that will affect and a great number of people. Disability allowances, for example, will also increase. So that will be a benefit boost for a lot of people and flow-on effects from there. There's a substantial amount of money going into housing in a program that was already announced before the budget. Some of that is likely to flow into the South as well. There's been, again, before budget, there was a tourism package which was announced, which by Stuart Nash, and there's money there for Queenstown in particular. So there are various localised things which will flow through into the South from there.
Yeah, and was there like anything out of the blue that sort of took you by surprise that you thought, that's one out of the bag?
Not so much surprise. I think what Grant Robertson's done is very clearly set out what his thinking is for the next 3 budgets. He described this budget in a feature I did on him in the ODT last weekend as being the first of 3, and he's very definitely looked at it in that frame. So things like, for example, greenhouse gas mitigation and climate change, there has to be a substantial investment in that going forward because the Independent Climate Change Commission is about to report back. They've clearly signalled that for the next 3 years they'll be spending in that sector, and watch the space basically is what they've said there. Same with health. Minister Little announced a major reform of the health sector a couple of weeks ago. There's a lot of money for health in this budget, a very substantial increase in operational budgets for DHBs, for example, and also an increase in their capital expenditure. But he's clearly signalled that there will be more to come in the next 2 years following this as they implement the reforms. Similarly, Chris Ipkins is working on a similar broad-based reform of the education system, reforming the Tomorrow Schools initiatives that were brought into place several years ago. There's money set aside for that this year, and also a clear signal there'll be more in the next 2 years in those areas too. So we've, basically the surprise, if it's a surprise, is that they've very clearly signalled where they're going, Normally the governments like to keep a surprise in the back of their pocket, especially for election years, but Grant Robertson's very clearly showed where he's going to be going and what his economic thinking is.
Yeah, okay. So you'll obviously be flat out writing for tomorrow's paper. Can you hint at what readers may learn, or should we leave some of that for the paper?
Well, I can tell you, I'm not the only one writing very hard. My colleagues Riley Kennedy on the business desk and Daisy Hudson are also working very hard on budget stories. She's got a big piece on Hillside and what it means for South Dunedin and for the workshop there. I'd look out for that one.
Wonderful, great, and we'll be looking forward to seeing what the opposition say. Great, and now it's time for the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view of construction time in Dunedin. Looking at the situation, a cold front is weakening as it moves over southern districts tonight and will bring only a brief period of showers and cold winds to the region tomorrow morning before a clearance, so it's going to be mostly fine weather likely all weekend. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, rain for Greymouth with 14 degrees and showers for Westport, also on 14 degrees. Moving to the northeast of the South Island, sunny in Nelson with 18 degrees and similar in Blenheim with a slightly higher 19. Heading down to Canterbury, it's mostly sunny in Kaikoura with 17 degrees. Christchurch is looking at scattered showers with 15 degrees, while Ashburton reaches 17 with moderate winds and some cloud. Moving to the southern towns, moderate westerlies which will become fine for the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore with a high of just 9 degrees. Travelling westwards to the southern lakes, light southwesterlies and showers clearing for Wanaka on 10 and Queenstown on 9 degrees. Alexandra will have mostly fine weather and a high of 10 degrees, while Tiana you're looking at moderate southwesterlies which will become fine later and a high of 9. To the northern towns, it's a southwesterly change with brief showers along the coast for Timaru with 13 degrees and 12 for Oamaru. Moving inland, Twizel and Amarama will see light southwesterlies with showers clearing and 11 degrees for both of you. In Dunedin, northwesterly winds freshening tonight with fine weather, looking at a low of 8 degrees. A period of showers tomorrow morning with fresh, gusty, cold southwesterlies, becoming fine and sunny, but they'll later decrease. A high of 10 and a low of 1, and it's fine and sunny on Saturday, cool temperatures with a high of 14 and a low of 0. And in Invercargill, showers developing tonight with cold southwesterlies, looking at a low of 6. Showers clearing tomorrow morning with gusty cold southwesterlies decreasing, mostly fine and sunny, looking at frost later tomorrow night, a high of 10 and a low of 0. And it's fine and sunny on Saturday with cool temperatures and light winds, a high of 13 and a low of 1. And that's all from the South Today team for this Thursday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.